Hi, I'm Kit Wirtz, and I'm from Flower Duet, and thanks for joining me. I'm going to show you how to put 125 red roses into this vase. 125! Before we get started, in this vase, there's actually some clear tape in here that's acting as a grid, and that's what's holding all my stems upright. And even though some of them are a little bit sideways, the grid really does help keep everything in its place. Otherwise, you'd have kind of a mess when you're doing this large of a vase and this number of stems. So I'm just going to show you a baby version of a grid using green tape so you can kind of tell at least what I did. First of all, I used a clear tape, and there's two types of widths, and you can kind of see it here. You have like the 1/4 inch width and the 1/2 inch width. So you want to use the 1/2 inch width when you're using lots of stems and a big heavy vase. I also used clear because it's a clear vase, and I want the tape to disappear into it, which it has. And it has to be waterproof. So this is by Oasis brand, so it has to be specifically made for the flower industry. This is also a waterproof tape. This is a green, obviously. It also comes in white. I'm using it just to show you what I did. So a grid is you put the tape across the top of your vase, like so. Don't put it in the middle of your vase. Put it in the middle of the vase, then you can't put a stem right in the middle of your arrangement. So you want to make kind of like maybe, well, I would say a tic-tac-toe. In this one, I did a lot of tic-tac-toes. The more grid lines you put in, the more control you'll have over your stems. Now, this doesn't really work that well if your vase is shallow. So you definitely need to have a vase that's taller than it is wide. So for the grid really to work well, the vase needs to be taller than the width. Like this is actually like a little candle holder, but we use these for little cocktail vases a lot. So I'm doing way too many grids for this, and obviously I wouldn't use green on a clear vase, but I wanted to show you the pattern. So I did a grid like this. I did like 5 this way and maybe 10 all the way across. And then the final step to keep all that tape in place is you wrap the tape around the lip so none of those pieces of tape are going anywhere. And you'll notice this vase is empty. So you want to put your waterproof tape onto your vase, your grid, when it's dry. And so usually it's easy to do that when there's no water in the vase, but for a vase like this that took a lot of water, I probably could have filled it all the way up and then dried the top and then put my grid on. The other advantage of putting the water in first and then drying the top is you want to mix your flower food into the water before you put your flowers in, because once you have the grid, you can't add flower food and mix it. You'll notice as I do this that I've cleaned all the roses ahead of time. So if you're going to do something really large scale like this, I recommend cleaning all your roses, sorting them by height before you try to add them into the vase, and you'll have a much easier time of it. Got my vase gridded, ready to go. I have water in it with flower food, so now we're going to add our flowers. We're going to build from the outside in. So the outside flowers are going to be a little shorter than the inside flowers. And when they come in your packs, they're usually about a little higher than each other anyway. So half the pack is lower than the other half of the pack of roses. They come in packs of 25. So we're going to use them like that. So the outer layer, which is the one that's closest to the lip of the vase, is going to be the shorter ones. And eventually we're going to get, some that are going to be about, this high, so almost double the height of the vase. But we're going to have our short ones a little shorter, and I'm going to work around the perimeter. Now when I put them in, they aren't going to necessarily stay exactly where they should. And that's okay, because I know that as I add more and more stems into the vase, I can have them all prop each other up. But now let's talk about how to measure. Like if I pull this vase to the edge of the table, then I can take my roses and hold it behind here and kind of go, okay, I need to cut it here, so when I put it in, it's the same height as the other vase. You could also have a measuring stick like on your table, but remember the key is You always want to add your stem right after you cut it. So you're just going to do one stem at a time. That one's a little shorter. I'm going to put that over here on the end. I think there might be a little more space. One at a time, because stems seal up in 10 seconds. And you want those stems to drink the water that's in the vase. And if you wait longer than 10 seconds, then they seal up and they can't drink the water. So you want to give the flowers as much chance as you can for lasting a long time in the vase. So far these are all looking nice and standing up the way I want them to, which is great. You might wonder, I showed you the close-up of the grid. So these end pieces, that one's a little too tall. End one's a little shorter. Let's bring this one down to match. I'm going to place this one in the back. So I'm going to keep going around my edge, making sure I get my guys to line up, and then I'll speed it up for you so you can just watch. I'm not talking too much. I'm going to keep going. Cut in place. So I finished the first outer layer, and you can see some of these are going crazy, and I wanted you to see that because I wanted you to know that that's normal. Until you have more stems in the vase, there's nothing to hold them in place. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to bring it into the next layer. I'll take a close-up shot, and we're going to bring the stems in closer. What I mean by that is we're going to bring things closer into the middle of the vase. So I've done my outer layer, so now I'm going to take do my inner layer, and I'm going to try to keep the length a little longer. So where I was cutting a lot off, now I want to keep most of my length on some of these and bring it up a bit. Okay, so I did my second layer in on both the front and the back. And so now I have like one layer in the middle to add my tallest ones to. And then what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to start to fill in where things are a little bit not full or not even. And hopefully as I start to add things in the middle, then the stems will start to straighten up. So I still have somewhat of the shorter pieces, the shorter stemmed roses, so I'm going to just try to fill in the middle, but I'm going to bring up the height just slightly, if I can, right into the middle grid. Before I do that, I should probably take a picture to show you. So I'm just starting to add some in that middle row that I have. And because the flowers were cleaned completely of all the thorns, well, most of the thorns, there still might be a few little baby ones on there, and all the leaves, everything can go in easily into the grid. Now, if I have a problem with where I place something, like say I didn't like that one, I can easily pull it straight out because it doesn't have any thorns or leaves on it. You know, we don't want leaves on the stems because we don't want leaves in the water, because that causes the stems to get clogged. You know, if there's leaves in the water, that's bad for the roses. But we also don't want thorns, because when you're trying to do something like this and you're trying to get it into the tape, you don't want anything to get caught on the tape. So you want to make sure that your stems are really clean. Gonna keep filling in the middle. That way I can get my stems hopefully to stand up a little straighter. So I'm going to keep adding flowers into the middle at a little higher or longer length, I should say. I'm going to keep doing that so you can watch me. I'm going to keep going a little bit higher in the middle, and then I'm going to go around the perimeter and try to bring down some of the stemminess that we see. So I added that layer to the top, and then I went along kind of the bottom, but I still left a little bit of the lip. So I need to do the back and make sure I mimic that look on the back too. So what I've been doing is I'm holding it up and I'm measuring it using the table, and then I need to cut a little more off, then I cut a little off, and then I place it into that grid, and then I pop it into the vase. So I cut what I think is close, then I hold it up, and then I can eyeball, okay, I need to cut this much more off. And so I keep measuring on the table. So I know that once I put it in, I'm not going to have to take it out again, hopefully. Sometimes I do. And again, that's why we make sure that we clean everything. So when you take something out, it comes out easily, and it doesn't mess with some of the other flowers. So when you see me kind of hold it on the table, and then look, and then maybe sometimes I cut again, that's because I didn't cut enough off. So we always tell our students, cut less than you think, keep it long to start, because once you cut it, you can't get it back. But once you have this many stems in, if you do cut it a little too short, you can always kind of, if I have something too short, like when I have so many stems, like I can start to pull things up because there's so many stems in here that they'll hold each other up. So it's not as important when you get near the end, because there is room. I mean, there's other stems to hold things up if I need to really do that, get that height right. Now you'll notice that I didn't make this super formal. Like I didn't make it like everything is like one row. I made it kind of organic. And so this is sort of like, it's modern and it's modern, meaning it's modern because it's got these clean lines, but it's also modern because there's a little bit of whimsy in it too. And that's kind of what's going on right now in a lot of design. Like it's controlled, but then not controlled. So this is more about elegance and luxuriness, meaning like there's a lot of roses and the red color, exudes elegance as well. And so you want to have, a little bit of fun to it. Everything doesn't have to be super formal. So we want to bring that in. I think I need one down here because it doesn't look quite covered there along the lip. So let's see if I can get that one. And I'm just, making sure everything is in the water. So like I said, now I can start to maybe move some stems around, and you hear that tape moving. If I have a hole like there, I can take the rest of my roses, and wherever I might have a hole in the design and I don't have a flower, I can pop one in to kind of fill that hole. And I'm going to come around on this side and do the same thing. Like I can see some stems, so I'm going to put some of these last roses in and make sure that I'm filled. Thanks for sticking with me through that. I know it was a lot. 125 stems. Here's the 125th stem. That's 5 bunches of roses. And, you know, I don't really think it needs it. But if we're going to do this, we're going to do this. So I think I'll just take a look and see maybe where I could use a little filling in. Maybe something right up here in the top, because this is one of my long ones. So give it a nice sharp angle so it can stand on its tippy toes and slip in really easily. You see, I can twist it to get it into place so that it fills in any hole that I might have. Thanks for joining me, Kit Wertz with Flower Duet.